Welcome back, everybody. Today we have a customer that we had a maintenance technician out who recorded a high superheat, a low subcool, and a low split. I'm just here to re-verify those readings. If I get the same readings, I'll show you what those mean, and obviously we'll make the necessary changes to the equipment to help balance the system and get it cooling better. I want you to watch what I do, watch how I do it in a timely manner that's very efficient to help you get through your service all so you can crush yours. Thanks, and let's get started. Alright, so basically we're going to just grab a few tools that we're going to need. We want to be able to check the refrigerant pressures and check a split, common diagnostic. When somebody says that the system is running continuously, you already know the condenser is running, you already know the air handler is running. There's no need to get out a meter and start checking for voltages and whatnot. Basically, what we're looking for is, what are our temperature splits across our evaporator coil, how much heat are we exchanging, and what is that superheat and subcool reading. The gauges are hooked up, the thermometer is already in the return duct. I'm getting my phone ready so I can go ahead and record the evaporator coil fin plates so I can better see what that looks like. As you can see, the filter is clean of debris. It's not immaculate, but it's not obstructing airflow, slowing any CFMs down. So looking at that coil, as long as it's good to go, then we're basically going to be focusing on the refrigerant levels. We do have good airflow, and those fin plates are very clean on that coil. So now when I go back to look at my gauges, I'm going to be, more understanding on what those values are if something's off. So we're going to go ahead and put that filter back in. I do need to put my thermometer in the supply air plenum. The reason why I can still check my return while I'm doing all this, because that's before the door, so it's before the garage temperature. But I've got a lot of heat that I just sucked into that house with that door off. So 76 degrees is what I'm reading on that, which is about roughly what the house is at. And he's having a hard time getting it below that temperature. So we're going to go ahead and just check that supply. I'm trying to do everything in an efficient manner where I'm thinking ahead that next step so it doesn't take me as long. You should definitely try to take short steps, not shortcuts. There is a difference there. You never want to guess. Shortcutting would be guessing. Alright, so we're going to see what the liquid value is and our vapor value. I've got my clamps twisted around. I'm going to go ahead and fix that. Alright, I always go past the dryer. I don't go before the dryer if I can. And then we're all hooked up. We'll get it set up on 410A. Our suction pressure and head pressure values are up here on the text. 104 suction, 303 head. Superheat's a little high, 32. We always want to be below 25, and if we can, between 12 and 18. You notice that subcool in this unit calls for a 13, and we're only reading 8.7, I believe. So long story short, we're going to definitely have to add refrigerant to this based off of what we know so far. And that supply air temperature, it's not like, a low split, but 59 degrees. If we subtract 59 from 76, that's 17. So he's cooling. We can clearly see that. He's got enough refrigerant in there to move some heat, but not efficiently, which on these really hot days, we need as much cooling capacity as possible. But when you actually have a undercharged system, right, then you wind up having a system that's not at full capacity. So whatever the tonnage is, you're derating that cooling capacity by a considerable amount, 10, 15, 20% even. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and add some refrigerant. It's not really taking very well, and I know this because, you know, the where my superheat is at and how slow it's moving to go back up. So I'm going to have to play around with my Schrader core a little bit. My style is to not bring the whole tool bag out. I can't stand that. I like to go back to my truck. That's just my style. So I'm just going to loosen this Schrader core up, try to get it to read a little bit better. And, you know, anytime you're having a hard time, you know, getting refrigerant in your system, most likely those Schrader cores are tight. So now I'm adding refrigerant, and when I shut my manifold off, it actually corresponds at a faster rate. So we got 318, 150, 318 and looks like 115. So the suction pressure is going up a little bit, head pressure is going up a little bit, everything's moving in the right direction. My superheat is dropping and my subcool is climbing. So when all these numbers move in the right direction, then what I do know is mechanically everything is working properly. So we definitely don't have any issues anywhere else. Just a little bit of gas needs to be added to the system to get that capacity back up. And so a little history on him. We actually put a coil in there not that long ago, but it was in the off season, so we were you know, I want to say we probably put it in the winter time. So this would be our first time coming back since then, before his maintenance, of course. And I'm just going to top it off a little bit. No big deal. All right, so I've made some changes. They weren't big changes. I'm still 76 room temp. I don't expect that to be any lower. I mean, that would be kind of crazy if we dropped the house that fast. And I'm just going to just babysit this a little bit just to make sure everything's where it's supposed to be at, make sure I don't need more refrigerant, make sure I don't have too much. Those are the two numbers that I'm paying attention to, which is my subcool and my superheat. So I'm down to 56, so we actually dropped the temperature a little bit on that supply. So that coolant's actually doing a very good job of moving a couple degrees more of heat out of that air. So we're like 20 degrees split now, which is where we need to be at. So I'm definitely not going to add any more refrigerant to it. I'm going to let this sit in here and just, you know, move around and make sure that everything boils off, and I'm not going to, you know, drop my superheat too low. I'm going to get my recovery tank out just to be on the safe side if I have to add any back into it. If I take any out, then, you know, I have my virgin refrigerant there and I have my reclaim tank there so I can recover some. So I'm going to get my meter out and I'm going to take, you know, my clamp, and I just want to check a couple things to make sure these values are good to go. I want to make sure that I'm not getting a different value off of a different instrument. So I'm going to check the temperature using my meter, and I'm going to move my clamp around in a few places just to see if there's any type of differential. Hopefully not, because you want to trust your values. You want to trust your data. So this is just me going a little step further, just because I have time, because I'm letting these things run and the refrigerant move around the system. Make sure that, you know, as much refrigerant as I put in there, I want to make sure that I'm not with too much or not enough. You know, you got to let stuff run for, you know, good 10-15 minutes anyway. So while we're waiting on that, I'm just thinking ahead and looking to make sure everything else is good to go. So I'm checking the temperature on my suction here, leaving the evaporator, and I just want to make sure that that number here is roughly the same as I'm reading outside. There shouldn't be any difference, and if there is, that's going to be because going through that chase, we're either gaining or losing. So I'm just making sure that those numbers are going to be very close to each other and not far apart. So I'm at 57.2. Not bad. Okay, we'll go outside, and I'm going to clamp it here using the same meter. So see, 64.6. That's high. That's like 7 degrees warmer. But you always, when you see that, don't just go off your first number. Move your clamp around like I just did. See, I'm already down to 61. Now my gauges were reading a lower value. So this is a little bit closer to what my gauge was reading, 60.8. Yeah, it's pretty interesting how that works out. Just sometimes your clamp just doesn't give you exactly what you're looking for. I'm going to come a little bit further away, out of the sun. Just kind of clamp it down there to see if there's any difference. And there already is. Look, 59.4, 59.2. So yeah, so 59.2. That's pretty much what we were reading on our manifold. So that's good. I can trust that.
All right, thanks everybody for watching that. As you saw, I quickly realized that, yeah, we had a little low of a a little low of a subcool. Superheat was higher than it should be. He had a low split. We were able to bring his split up by adding refrigerant. We were able to drop his superheat by adding that refrigerant, and raise that subcool by adding that refrigerant. I did have to balance it a little bit because I noticed I started going over that 13-degree subcool. That's not good. You don't want to leave it overcharged. If we only went off of temperatures on the return and supply, if we only went off the suction pressure and the liquid head pressure, we would not be able to get an accurate charge on this. It's very important to monitor your superheat and subcools. Thanks for watching this video. I hope it helps you out, and stay tuned.